What's up, YouTube? My name's Quickie. Welcome back to the channel. It's what is it? Tuesday today. I came in all full of beans. I'm getting this, that, and the other done, and I've not had any of it. Apart from one person after another coming in. Can you do this? Can you do that? Oh, I've got this thing. Loads of people. So I've now got a little job to do for Jack, which is what these is. You don't need to know about that. However, I do have some other news. Look at that, look. I finally got one. I proposed to Sam when we was on holiday in Turkey last year, and she got a ring on the spot. This is my third one. First one turned up, that didn't fit. Second one turned up, it was either it didn't fit or she didn't like it or something. So now I finally got one. I'm a marked man. But yeah, it's dead weird wearing it. It's like, oh, what's that? I'll get used to it, it'll be fine. I've been waiting for it though. It's quite a good day today. Today's Valentine's Day as well, so it's kind of fitting. Anyways, what am I doing? Well, I've got the tank half done. I'm doing something today, if nothing else, because I really want to run the tank on the bike when we do the dyno run. So we're going to have those indicators off. I've already pulled that lock lead off. I don't think I need it. I just need to finish this up. Get the petrol tap in the bottom of it. It has all been flushed out and stuff, because obviously I shot blasted this. It's been cleaned out as good as I can. It's had an airline, a hose pipe, another airline, another hose pipe. All that going down its trumpet. So it's about as clean as it's ever going to get. So we're going to get this in, which is a nice new fuel tap with a filter and everything else. Obs. And we're going to get him on the bike and get him sorted. I do need to find some vacuum line though. I did have some. Where's that gone? Right, this is a dead noddy job. Here's the old fuel tap. Where are you? Oh, hello. What was that? Oh, that was a bolt. Right, it's a dead noddy job. If you look at the old one, so where's reserve, where's prime, where's... You just can't tell. Whereas you look at the new one, it's all nice and shiny, and you can actually read stuff, look. There is a spare filter that's coming as well, which is all good and cushy. I'm not using these bolts. I know they're hex, but I've got some stainless little button head jobbies, which is just nicer, basically. So we will go up the gasket just a little bit, just to help it seal. You probably don't need to do this, but you know, I tend to do it anyway. It's not going to hurt. So he's going on like that. Around there, which is peachy. And we want some copper washers. These are through holes. So obviously where this bolt is going to bottom out on the casting, it will just leak unless you put something underneath it. So a copper washer will do the do. I just need one that fits. It'll do, 2 of those. Like that. The vacuum line, I am just going to pinch the one off the old one. So we can go up to the carb. And I'm going to stick a clip around him as well. Where's my stuff? There we are. These little clip kits are quite good. It's just a bit of a neat and tidier job than a circlip, you know. You know, one of them screw up jobbies. I'm not a big fan of them. side stand switch, and this is the side stand. I'm thinking about doing this next. I was going to start on seat ump and seat unit, but we're sort of at the point where it's Andy wheeling the bike about. He's going to be going dyno a few times and stuff like that. It's just going to be like handy if I can wheel it somewhere and just put a side stand down, and you know, it's not a problem. So I might be starting on this next, I think. We may well end up changing it. I thought I kept a bit of frame with the block that this went into. That would be handy. Let me have a look. No. I thought I would have kept it, just because it's going to be easier to make the new one if I got the old one to sort of mimic, because the frame ain't that far off. I've got loads of bits and pieces in here. Alright, front brake master cylinders, complete set of calipers, rear brake master cylinder, tops and bottom yokes, all that stuff. If anybody wants Bandit bits, let me know, because otherwise it's just all getting chucked, because I won't be using it again. I was convinced I would have kept it. Never mind. Just have to make something from scratch, wouldn't we? Ooh, I remember them. Right, okay. Right, I know it's only a side stand, but there is quite a lot going on here. I've got the OEM stand, the switch, and the return spring and stuff for it. I'm probably not going to be using this, or if I do, it ain't going to be in the normal way. I don't want this on the outside. I want it hidden up the back somewhere so you can't see it, basically. And he is a bit big. We could save this down a bit and just have the one fixing and have it in a channel, which is what I'm thinking of doing on the back side. But I need to play about with this. This centre section of the frame here, it is not just the same frame tube. All this stuff is 2mm thick. That bit in the middle is about 5mm thick. Essentially, I turned it up on the lathe and hollowed it out and made it so it fit inside the frame tubes, and then it's all been seam welded and blah 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 blah. Reason being is I've got an engine mount there, and I've also mounting the side stand to it, so I wanted it to be beef. Proper beef. But ideally I'm thinking the side stand should go something like that. If I'm honest, that would be quite nice. That would be very nice, actually. So, what am I thinking? Well, we're going to need to have some sort of pivot here that limits the throw of this as it goes forwards. So it's going to need to have some sort of step to it, which I don't think is going to be an issue. We're going to be losing this because potentially that's going to get away of the rear sets. And we'll just have like a little tab on it here, just enough to get your boot on. We'll have a rubber stop there so it doesn't clatter into the frame. That'll be easy enough. I can just drill and tap it. Or drill it and, I don't know, insert a little boss or something. But we can have like a rubber boot on there, so that'll be fine. But that, I think, is where it needs to go, ish. We are on the paddock stand, as I say. So the back is up, this isn't level, but the angle that you have this at actually makes a massive difference. I think what I need to do is to get this over at an angle. I'll make a block up that sort of does the do, I think. And then we can offer it up and see quite where best it's going to sit. There is quite a lot going on here. I could use that as a stop, but it would be nicer if that wasn't there and the stop was managed by the pivot block that it comes down and sits on. So I'm going to want it to be about like that, I suppose. Just past centre. So the spring is going to have to mount on the back on a peg, something like that. Yeah, so that'll be stretched. Yeah, there is a lot going on, isn't there? Right. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I know, I'm going to think about it. Because it is going to need some thought. Right, I'll be back. Right, I'm back. And I've been thinking. We don't need to make this very complicated at all. Been grubbing about and I found a big old chunk of steel here, which I can use to make that. He's sort of, yeah, he's going to do the do. It's the only big chunk of stuff that I've got. I've got some gauge plate, which you use for making tooling and stuff. You know, the trouble is you can't really weld with that. I don't like it much. So we just need a bit of mild steel. That'll probably do the do. What I'm thinking about doing is just making the pivot point for this for now. Just so I can actually mount this to the bike, and then once I can see it in situ, then, you know, we can sort out how we're going to mount the switch and all that other sort of stuff as well. I just can't picture it in my head as to the shape of the thing that I need to make in order to get that and the switch all located with the switch at the back. So, I think the switch is probably going to come later on, and it might not be that switch. But what I want to do is just clean all this lot up. So, well, I've got a shot blaster, I'm going to use it. Right. Right, so I've been cocking about with a few ideas. I'm trying to keep it as simple as I possibly can do. I think we're onto something. So, what I'm going to do is just make the mount for the side stand. So I've decided to do that just because offering up the brake switch and stuff, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stick it behind because of how the spring roots and everything else. But I know I'm going to need to have a pivot, and I know that the switch could be offset to the frame, to the top of the frame. So if I make this thing, that is going to be my pivot point. It's only a little thing. There's a couple of angles to it which are quite important because this isn't cut sort of square in here. It's at a 10-degree angle. So obviously that needs to engage on this little pivot thing to lock it in place, so we get like a mechanical lock to it. So rather than, you know, relying on pins or anything else, I just want it going to a solid piece of metal because it ain't going to go anywhere. So this is what I need to make. One of them, like that. It's not very impressive really, is it? But, and it should be fairly easy to do. It's just a 10-degree angle either side, a hole in it and a radius, theory says. So I'm going to have a go at making one of these out of alley. We'll offer it all up, shove a bolt through it, see if it looks like it's going to work, and then if it does, I can make one out of steel and we can decide at what angle it needs to go on the side of the frame. I think that's going to be the best way to do it. Right, to the mill. Right, this is the only downside to machining. I love my machining, don't get me wrong. I could spend hours stood in front of this, and I quite often do as it happens. But the thing is, it's like when you want to change something, everything has got to change. Like I just had the boring head out and I had to put a collet chuck in. The last piece of work I was doing was straight to the bed, so the vice had to come off. But now I want to use the vice again. So he's got to go back on, and then I've got to dial it all in with an indicator and get it all nice and straight and all that sort of stuff. It just takes bloody ages. Ages and ages and ages. But it's worth doing, because if you don't get it done right, then you know, nothing's going to be square, is it? One of those things that you just have to do. Right, let's nip him down a little bit, get an indicator in the chuck, and then we can see where we go from there. Right, where have I put that? I think the basic shape is there. Reason I'm doing it in alley, because I'm obviously not using this on the thing, it's just quicker and easier to machine alley than it is steel. But this way I can get all my dimensions properly and, you know, blah de blah, and it's a little bit of alley, it's a bit of scrap, but I would rather do it this way than, you know, wear out tooling and stuff. Because my tooling isn't brilliant. The steel's quite hard. Right, how big are you? .07 off. Right. Right, take a picture of that. There we go. Right, so a few more little changes. And it's mostly just trying to get the thing to sit right, because I want it, it's got to go past centre so it all locks, but I want the foot to be square onto the floor, and I want it to, when it folds up, I want it to be in a nice, I mean I can always cut this off and change the angle, but it's all still got to look right and function and everything else. So we're going to have a little bit of a rethink. This, I think I know what I'm doing now. I just need to mock it up. I'm going to do it in a piece of alley again, just because it's real quick and easy to machine. You know, there's no goofing about or anything else. We can stick a hole in it, just offer it up and see, is it going to work or isn't it going to work? And then once I'm happy with it, I'll just make a steel one, tack it on, and we're in. That's it. The switch can come later on. And it's a stupid little thing. It's just a mount for the stand. But there you go. Oh yeah, we also got this. I'm not sure if I've shown you this before, but this is turned up. So, this is the DB killer. People don't like these much. Anyway, just to explain, we're going to be playing about with this at Crispy's. So the end is blanked off. It's held in place with a screw, so you can have that out and open that hole on the end. This is too long to go down the exhaust at the minute, because obviously the tube bends on the end of the tailpipe, so this can be cut down to fit. And this is a 60mm. It has got a little ridge on the edge of it here. I'm not sure if you can see, but it is a properly snug fit in there, and it will secure just with a screw. So there's a few different options on this. Obviously the shorter this is, the less of these holes you get. If you run the cap in the end, That's one big hole that's now not passing gas. So you can kind of limit the amount of exhaust that's coming through the system. So when we go, I'm going to get this fitted. So yeah, we chop this down to the right length. I'm not convinced about sticking a hole in my exhaust just yet, so it might be getting clamped in. I don't know. But we're going to give it a go when we go to Crispy's. So we'll do normal power run as the bike is at the minute with the new jet in, and we'll get all that lot sorted and blah 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 blah. But then I want to know how effective these things are at killing noise, because I've got a 99 decibel limit, and I also want to know what it does to the power. So I ain't going to change the length of it, but by having that bit in and out of it, and running it with this or without it, we should get a sense of what's going on. Crispy was saying if you just stick a restriction in the end of the can, you lose loads of power. I'm not bothered about that as far as the MSVA goes, but it's more important for me to hit that noise limit. So as long as we do that, and we know it runs quite happily without this in it, I'm going to call that sound. But anyway, it's now 12:30, so I need to chip off to me work, but I'll be back. Right, you are currently sitting where ASBO was. You're on the bike bench. He's over there, but he's not on his own stand because that's it. I have had to shorten this up a little bit. Basically, we're on thicker frame tubes, so the pivot point is down a little bit. And also, for where I want to put this, the foot wasn't nice and flat with the floor. So he's been chopped off. And it's all been welded back on. I've still got a bit of dressing up and stuff to do, but it's functional for now. I welded the pivot plate on, so I'm just waiting for it to cool down a bit. It does need a little bit of dressing up because I've piled a load of hot weld in there to the point where this won't go all the way back up, so I just need to dress it in a bit, but it's basically sorted. I'll get all this done during the week. But we have got Simon Rolls down today. And he's brought some toys with him, look. He's bought one of these things. This is is it a noise? dB meter. How high does it go up to? 130 decibels. That was really loud. So what we're going to do is, there's a couple of bits I want to prove. We've not had any fuel in the tank, and it's not run off its own fuel and all that sort of stuff. We did have a little bit of patching to do. So I just, for the drain hole at the bottom and all that sort of stuff. So basically I just want to make sure it's all good. And then we're going to fire it up. I want to see if I need to open up that air hole in the top of the fuel cap. If I do, that's a quick and easy job. But I also want to see how loud it is, because the app on my phone doesn't go up high enough, and it is definitely a lot more than 80 dBs, I reckon. So I'm going to fill it full of fuel. We'll start it up and we'll see what it does. And then if I get time, I might even shove this in it. See what that does. Be interesting, won't it? I've got bugger all done today, like 3 attempts and cocking about and shooting the breeze, and I'm wasting the day again. Still warm. Right, okay, we're just warming the bike up. Essentially, it's raining outside, so, yes, it's not all painted yet or anything else, but we've backed it right up to the garage door. We'll take you down and show you in a minute. We're just warming it up. You can hear it in the background. It does sound good. Started up real easy as well on the new jetting. When we was down at Crispy's and we fired it up, we had to ask it, a couple of times, come on, you can do it. But this time, once it got fuel down into his neck and that, it basically started straight up. And bear in mind, all the carbs was empty, they had to be primed and all that sort of stuff. So we're just letting it run up. It's backed up to the garage door, just on its paddock stand at the minute. So what we're going to do is see how noisy it is on the can that I made, with no DB killer or anything else in there at the minute, just so we can see what's what. MSVA, I've double checked it, is for over a 500 you have to go to 5,000 revs, and you're not allowed to exceed 99 decibels. And the way you measure it is with one of those dB meters at sideboard down, 45-degree angle, at the same height as the exhaust, at a distance of half a metre. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just hoping it comes in under 99. It's going to be close. Right, let's get you shifted. £5 grand, yeah? So, yeah, alright. That's not enough, isn't it? That's a lot. That's noisier. Do it again. So I did go over 5k as well. Yeah. That was 5k. Right, we might have to try the DB killer then.
Let's just have a quick squiz in the book, just to make sure that we get the settings that we're using the settings that they will use.
Oh right, okay, all right. Was a little bit over 99. A little bit. We'll be back.
You might get it on a track.
That's the maximum, is it?
Yeah.
Houston, we have a problem.
Wish, come on in.
Right. Yeah. There's not really much point in having a DB killer. It doesn't sound bad with the DB killer in it, though.
No, sounds actually...
Sounds a bit better.
Yeah, a bit
we just need
smoother.
to see what it's doing with power, really, don't I? Because if it's just throttling power, there's no point in having it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be almost starved of power anyway, because it's 600.
Well, I think what I'm going to do... It's all right, you ain't going to wait long. We will tell you what it says. But I think what I'm going to do, because I'm thinking of chopping this can down just a little bit. Because at the minute... Oh, he's wedged in there now, isn't he? Oh, come on. And he's hot. Right, I'll get him out in a minute. What I'm probably going to do is put a hole on the bottom here, just so I can get that DB killer in there and fix it properly with a screw. Because I was tempted just to cut that at a very slight angle, just because it's kind of up at the minute, isn't it? Whereas I'd like it to be vertical sort of thing. So we just take a little wedge out the end of that. But that means that I can fix a DB killer in it properly. The sound it makes isn't as ear-poppingly obnoxious. It still sounds really good. It doesn't sound like 600 at all. Oh, hang on, where's my phone? I've got to turn my bike off. Right.
But then you only went to 5,000.
I'll turn that off like that. It's dead good, you just double click the thing and it shuts it down. Let's take that off.
Connection lost.
She tells you all about your bike and everything. It's brilliant. Right. Okay. What else was he going to do? Oh, we need to weigh it as well, don't we? Right. Let's we'll shift all this lot in. Right. I know someone's going to ask, but no, he hasn't lost an arm. It looks like it on the thing. He's had surgery and stuff, and it's all in the sling. So, but he's not lost it. Where'd I put the thing? Right. So we'll tell you all about the. We'll tell you all about that in a minute. Well, I've got a set of bathroom scales. How do they work? Do you just bounce on them?
Yeah.
bounce on it heavier than that. Is there an off switch? No.
Yep.
There we go. Bloody hell. Right, less said about that the better. What I want to do is, because we've pretty much got everything on the bike that is, I mean, there's a few little bits and pieces, so it's going to go up a little bit. And we was chatting earlier, we reckon with the seat hump, the seat pan itself, the front mudguard, lock stops, nothing that's like that big, the stand, and the number plate thing, and the calipers, we probably reckon it's going to go up about 10 kilos ish.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I might be making the seat hump out of Elliot, I don't really know, but it's going to be something like that anyway. So, whatever we get here, we'll just stick another 10 kilos on and see what's what. Normal set of bathroom scales, which can take maximum 180 kilos. So that's like, what, half a Stevo. So all we're going to do is put the front wheel on and then back wheel on, add the two together. Yes, there will be a little bit of shared weight, but it ain't going to be much, is it? Let's have a go at doing the front first. If I'm just thinking easy getting it on. Pom, pom, pom. I'm not going to get my scales in there.
What, just have to roll it on?
They're not going to go on. Bloody hell. Right, it's me lifting it then. Because to be fair, you're no good.
No, but I can hold the scales and you roll the wheel on. You take it off. Take it off.
We roll it on, is that good? It's like a glass thing.
Well, it's probably safer than dropping it on it.
Can you lift with one hand?
Yeah.
One handlebar?
Yeah.
And then we'll just like kick it under.
Really?
Hang on, let's do it that way just so I can see. Right, you ready? Right, if you steady it, I'll get it off the back. We on? Right, what does that say? Oh, cock, it's got, I think it was 90.5. I think. Let's just, can we lift it and down? Hang on, it's coming to me. Well, it's wobbling about, isn't it? 93.6. 93.6. So now we've just got the back one. Right. If you steady it, this should go in. Right. Right then. So that's 86.5. Right then, my brain is not working, so I've had to add it up on my phone. What we've got is the dry weight, according to the Haynes Book of Fairy Tales, is 196 to 198 kilos. So that isn't going to include fuel in the tank or oil in the engine or, you know, that sort of stuff. And if we add it all up and assume that there's an extra 10 kilos of weight to go on with the seat hump and the calipers and stuff like that, which is just a guess at the end of the day, we're coming in at 190.1. So it's going to be very, you know, tiny bit under the weight of an original, which is weird because obviously, like the frame, which, you know, I mean, they're not the lightest of things anyway, but that's all bigger tubing all over because it looks chunky and it looks dead cool and all that sort of stuff. But even with the bigger tubing and the steel under tray that I've put in, which okay is only sort of thin sheet, and it's got a Bandit 1200 swing arm, which is bigger, and a wheel, which is a wider rim, and a bigger tyre on it, which is, you know, again more weight and whatnot as well. The front end is a lot more substantial than the standard Bandit one. I think that's a 40. I think the stanchions are like 45 or something. Whereas the standard Bandit forks are an awful lot skinnier than that. So even though we've beefed it up everywhere else, it's still coming in a little bit under the weight of a stock Bandit. I'm quite happy with that. Right, to the noise stuff. Where's the thing? Here it is. We might have a little bit of a problem, a little bit. Which basically means when it's going to go for its MSVA test, it's not going to be on that can. It's not going to be. We ran it up, as we ran it up on the dyno, just with my exhaust system, with no dB killer in the end of it or anything else, and it came out as 106.8, which is an ear popping, quite obnoxious, but quite a nice noise actually. Then we shoved the dB killer in it, we took it back up to 5k, measured it exactly the same. Same, you know, same. If there is any echoing going on out there, I don't really know, but that came in at 105.1 decibels. The limit we've got to hit is 99 decibels. So, for the MSVA test, I'm going to be sticking a different exhaust on it, which brings it down to 99. I don't care what it does as far as the power goes or any of that lot. It's going to be set up on the dyno to run as is. But what I will be doing is taking that dB killer with me, so when we do run it up on the dyno and we get it jetted how we want it to be, we can stick a dB killer down its trumpet and see what that does both to, well, we know what it does to noise, but I want to see what it does to power. Crispy was saying if you do that and just add a restriction at the end, basically you knock off a load of power, and I just want to see by how much. Because the difference in noise, it was a little bit more mellow. I know it's only 1 dB, but it wasn't ear popping anymore. It took that side away from it, didn't it? And it ticked over nice, and it sounded a bit more mellow than the 106, but both was actually quite a nice noise. It's just that your ears didn't pop with the 105. So that's going to be at Crispy's. I haven't heard back from him yet, but it is the weekend. We ain't going to hear back from him not until next week. But the bike runs and it seems to be okay. I'm probably going to open that air hole up in the top of the fuel filler, you know, just because then it matches whatever was there originally, because there's the hole in the surround. So I'm going to open that up anyway, just so there's no bottleneck. But that's how we're going to be running it, basically. But there you go. Inquiring minds wanted to know. Now you know.
The weight of the CBR is 186 wet.
186 wet? Is that the CBR 600RR?
Yeah.
Well, it's comparable, isn't it?
Yeah. So with depending on the weight of the rider.
Just out of interest, what's the Triumph Daytona 955i? It could be a lot heavier, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know that kind of.
Oh, that's interesting. So the rear shock that we've got is out of I want to say a 2007 CBR 600RR, and the wet weight, the curb weight, is 186. So, you know, if we come in on track somewhere around the 190, you know, the weight of the shock is designed to deal with is bang on, because you can have like a hoofing great fella sitting on top of it, or a skinny mini, can't you?
Yeah.
And the shock can deal with all of it, so we're going to be quite comfortable.
I think it's about 150 kilos carrying weight on those things.
Really?
Yeah, if you look on your book, because you take the weight of a rider and a pillion.
Yeah.
The shocks have got to be able to cope.
So that spring, it's probably going to be fine then.
Yeah.
If anything, the front's going to be oversprung, because a 955i weighs more than a Bandit.
Yeah, but we can dial back the preload.
Yeah. But if we need to change springs, we change springs. That's awesome. I'm quite chuffed with that, actually, because even though everything has been beefed up, you know, bigger wheel, bigger swing arm, bigger frame tubing, heavier front end, blah, 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 to still come in same sort of weight as a or just under by 8 kilos or whatever it is, just under the weight of a stock Bandit. I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not like the engine's going to be struggling to get going. It's not like you're going to lose loads of top speed or anything else. It's going to be comparable. It's just that you should have better handling with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should have.
It won't be worse
And
than
we'll
standard.
it won't. Well, there's nothing worse than standard. Well, I don't know. Maybe a space opera, but but that is really quite cool and quite surprising actually. I did think it was going to be a little bit heavy, but there you go. So anyway, I haven't really done that much work. I've put a side stand on it. Well, some of it. The rest of it's over here. I've got one of these little pegs to make up, which I'll turn up on the lathe, and that's going to live on the inside of the frame, just for the return spring, so everything snaps back and it's all working quite happily. That little thing there operates the switch, but he's going to be going because I want to try and hide it all round the back so you can't really see it. But it's neat and tidy. It looks apart. Just needs a little bit of dressing up, and we's in. So that's where I'm going to leave it for this one. Thank you ever so much for watching. I do hope you're well and staying safe. I will see you on the next one. Laters.